Hello and welcome to an exciting day. It's March 12th, baby, which means patch day. There is a big, juicy patch note list that has just gone live. We're going to go through it step by step, give context to all the different meanings. If you don't know exactly what's going on, hopefully I can give you a little bit of extra insight there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on in to the patch notes. Version 22.02. Greetings. The following page will list patch notes for all updates within this release. So we're going to go ahead and scroll down and say features and changes first. So step one is going to be the Ansiblex gates and force projection. So there is always basically a problem with how easy it is for nullsecers to move their forces from where they live to where they're attacking or where they're doing something. So like the idea kind of is that with this patch, they want to make it so that it is easy to move around in your little home area, but getting further out away is probably going to be a little bit more difficult. But let's see what the actual notes say. So it is no longer possible to use an Ansiblex while warp disrupted or inside a bubble. That sounds like a no-brainer. I'm surprised it wasn't already like that, in fact. So if you're tackled, you can't just jump away, which good. They've also been renamed to Ansiblex jump bridges, not jump gates anymore, for more clarity on not being able to use them while warp disrupted anymore. All right, cool. Makes sense. They reduced the radius attribute on the Ansiblex jump bridge from 13,000 meters to 7,000 meters. Okay, so they're a little bit smaller, a little bit harder to get to, I guess. I mean, sure, that just probably just puts them in line with that kind of how they look. This will mean that it now takes up much less volume / area and space and will be easier to camp with warp disruptors and bubbles. That makes a lot more sense too. So you're going to have those large bubbles. You can like have a Hictor bubble, which we'll talk about Hicks later because they're getting a little buff. Ansiblex jump bridges no longer auto repair, no longer have a damage cap, and now use the same reinforcement flow as the Metanox moon drills. So this is actually really cool because previously you would attack them, disrupt them, but then like once you didn't fully kill them, they would just repair themselves automatically. But now the nullsec players are going to have to actually send out forces to be able to repair them. And they might even send out faxes, large ships, so you can basically have an opportunity to make more content happen because they are going to have some kind of forces out there to do the repairs. They have also had their HP and resistances rebalanced following this change to provide an increase to their total EHP while giving them higher resistances and lower flat HP to make them easier to remote repair for logistics pile. Makes sense. That just goes with the previous change. Shield HP and armor has been reduced from 7,500,000 to 500,000. Note that these are increased by 4 times when it is in high power. So when it's actually working, you're going to have a lot more health on them. Makes sense. Shield and armor resistances increased from 20% to 75%. So they are actually beefier than they were before. But there's no damage cap as well now, so you can kill them with a lot of damage. So think big old shacks and whatnot. And then their structure hit points has been increased from 3 million to 12 million. Yes, because there's no damage cap. Ansiblex's bridges can no longer be placed closer than 100,000 kilometers to stargates. Existing Ansiblex bridges will be grandfathered into their current locations, but once destroyed, they will need to be placed at least 100,000 kilometers away from the nearest stargate to be replaced. Interesting. I'm not exactly sure why that is being changed. Maybe just because it's like really easy to jump to the bridge and then you have a very short warp to the gate, which just makes responding to things just that much quicker. So it makes this a little bit slower to get further around. All right, we're making a number of changes to the Ansiblex bridges to limit their force projection power. We're doing that primarily through giving players more agency by making them more difficult or dangerous to use in contested space. removing the damage cap and requiring them to be manually repaired, just like Meninox moon drills, and requiring the new Ansiplex bridges to be placed off-grid from stargates to make scouting from the gate harder. So they're going to be off-grid, so you can't actually see what's going on there unless you actually warp to them. Rather than introducing new systems or mechanics which limits their use, such as jump fatigue. Our goal with these changes is to make sure nullsec line members and soft holders are still able to use Ansiplex bridges to access the core space that the Alliance controls, so they can still efficiently do daily activities such as mining, ratting, PI, merc dens, refueling, and logistics works without impeding them with a system like fatigue, while opening up more gameplay, more fleets out in space, and options to counter force projection, such as delaying responses, and fleets with defensive interdictor and bubble usage, making them more dangerous through increasing the ability for players to set up traps like bombing runs, pipe bombs, and to give more options to raiders and roaming gangs by making them easier to camp and increasing the burden of maintaining distant Ansiplex gates outside of Alliance core space. So what I can kind of see might be really interesting here is, like, if you know where the enemy is going to be reinforcing from, like what jump bridges they're going to be doing, you could possibly like pre-put bubblers over there and just kind of like be an annoying little nuisance. Ghosty says, because we need more cloaked savers on our gates. That's exactly correct, Ghosty. You do need more cloaked savers on your gates. So we'll see how that actually plays out. But moving on. Ship warp speed changes. The warp speed. Okay, this is going to be interesting because they haven't really said much about this, so I'm curious and excited to see what we're about to read. The warp speeds of all ships have been adjusted to bring them all together for similar sizes of ships. Over time, we've adjusted and rebalanced different ship classes' warp speeds, most recently in 2019, and they are now fairly inconsistent, with some ships like heavy assault cruisers having the same warp speed as stealth bomber frigates and T1 destroyers, while indie ships such as haulers and mining barges, which are also the same size, are slower than some battleships. This can make it difficult for new players to understand the relationship of warp speeds between different size classes of ships, and Tech 2 ships currently have faster warp speeds than Tech 1 ships, even when it doesn't always make sense for their specialized role, like the above mentioned heavy assault cruisers warping faster than regular cruisers. Yeah, that doesn't exactly make sense, huh? Tech 2 ships from their size above are also competing with the Tech 1 and Navy size below for warp speeds, which makes it harder to justify bringing smaller classes of ships. This also contributes to unhealthy force projection, since stronger, more powerful ships are also able to cross the universe faster. Yeah, so I agree with that blurb, in that if you are in a bigger, fatter, beefier ship, then you should probably be going slower. Alternatively, what's going to be kind of weird here is that interceptors are very, like, one of the biggest contributing factors for why interceptors are so good at catching things is because they have a really fast warp speed. So how are we going to balance that out? As long as they're not making my run fast shoes slower. They just might. Also, hello, Miss Medic. Welcome in, new player. Good to see you. We have made the following changes to address these issues. Grouped up all ships based on their size, such as small, medium, large, capital, removing the 10% or plus 0.5 AU bonus from Tech 2 ships. Ships that are slightly bigger than this size category, such as destroyer for small, battlecruisers, and haulers for mediums, are placed in a plus size group. Okay, makes sense. This leaves us with just 7 base warp speed tiers rather than the current 13. Okay, but what are you going to do about interceptors? Tech 2 ships which need the increased warp speed for performing their specialization, such as interceptors and interdictors, have been giving roll bonuses to warp speed to keep their current warp speeds about the same, while making these ships easier to identify for new players. That I actually love this. I love this choice, because we have actual sentences, words that people will be able to read and know that this is a ship that goes fast because it needs to go fast. The net result from these changes are that Titans, freighters, mining barges, exhumers, haulers will now warp 10 to 15% faster. Okay. I like that my haulers are going to be warping faster. The Porpoise and the Orca will get improvements of 25 to 30%, and most Tech 2 ships, which are not specialized, will warp slightly slower. Okay, cool. But Tech 1 and Tech 2 ships are all going to warp the same speed, unless they are a special ship. Okay, so no micro warp drive on an interceptor, right? Why not? You should probably almost definitely have a micro warp drive on an interceptor. For sure. Below is a table with the new warp speeds for every class inside of the ships. Okay, so what do we got? All frigates and shuttles, 5. That makes sense. All destroyers, 4.5. All cruisers, 4. All haulers, okay, is 3.5. Were they really slower than 3.5? All battleships, 3. Orcas, 2.5. All caps, 1.5. Okay. And freighters, I guess they are counting freighters as a cap in this instance. Oh, wait, no. I think freighters are a hauler. I think they're saying all haulers includes freighters, which also includes jump freighters. And then notes. Covops and interceptors gain 60% warp speed roll bonus. Wait, is that greater than 8? Hold on. Did they give them faster? 5 times 1.6? Oh, no, it's 8. Math real good. Me good math. Interdictors gain 25% warp speed roll bonus. Okay, makes sense. Bubblers are fast too. Agility focused haulers get 30% warp speed roll bonus. Blockade runners gain 75% warp speed roll bonus. Fuck yeah, let's go. So I do a lot of blockade running. So this is just going to make my life a little bit easier. So I'm happy with that. Included below are the old speeds as reference. Oh, let's do capacity specialized. They used to be 3 AU. Okay. So cool. Fucking my occupators are going to be going super fast. Additionally, capsuleers will now warp at 4 AU to match cruisers, which is what they did before 2019. Okay. We are not buffing the warp speed of corvettes at this time, which still warp at 3 AU to make sure we do not obsolete shuttles and Tech 1 frigates as travel options. Why not just make shuttles go faster? Shuttles should go faster. Filaments. Okay, so these are Pochfin filaments that they're talking about. I guess also signal and noise filaments. So basically ways to teleport to different areas. A spool up timer has been added to all travel filaments, Trig Space, Needlejack, and Ice Storm. Oh, Ice Storm too. A filament trace will appear next to the Travel's filament owner on activation. Nearby fleet members without capsular long-off timers will be linked to the trace as it appears. Characters will unlink from a trace if they cloak, change ship, or go beyond 30 kilometers. A link cannot be reestablished once broken. Ooh, there's going to probably be some fuck-ups about that. If the filament's owner unlinks from the trace, immediately closes. Traces can be scanned with combat probes or descan. Okay. After the spool up completes, the filament's owner can jump all characters which remain linked to it. Warp disrupted players will not be jumped. Filament owners will be given a confirmation prompt if characters will be left behind. Traces will close after 15 minutes have passed since it first appeared. Traces will close after 15 minutes have passed since it first appeared. Oh, I guess. But once you use it, it disappears. Hopefully. Travel filaments can no longer be used on a dead space grid. Great. Love it. Filaments have been a long, powerful tool for both fast travel and escaping dangerous situations. The addition of a spool-up timer and scannable traces aims to add risk and enable counterplay. Yeah, this is great. We love this. All right. Moving right along. Below is a table with new filament spool timers.
Hey bitch, you are forcing your Twitch viewer to watch an ad right now, so pause your fucking game.
We're just gonna keep going on for the YouTube video. That 15-minute sentence almost gave me a heart attack before I read on. The 15-minute sentence. Oh, traces will close 15 minutes. Yeah. All right, balances. So the EOS had a lot of really good uses, we'll call it, for sentry turrets. So that's going to be brought in line. How will that be brought in line? 10% bonus to drone damage and hit points per level of Glente battlecruiser has now been split into two separate bonuses. 10% bonus to heavy, medium, and light drone, and then 5% to sentry drone. So just nerfing the damage on sentry drones. And then 7.5 bonus to drone tracking has been split into two, 7.5 and 5%. Okay. We're making some adjustments to the EOS to specifically target the amount of damage and tracking that it has with sentry drones, while avoiding nerfing regular drone fits. This makes it more similar to the Ishtar, which also has lower bonuses for sentry drones. So it makes total sense there. The sentry drones were just being a little bit too overpowering. Orca. Agility multiplier improved from 2.6 to 2, so it's going to align faster now. The Orca had a higher align time than the Rorqual, so we are correcting this by giving it a significant buff to agility, which should now have it be more comparable to the Rorca, and a reinforced bulkhead fitted bowhead. We need to be careful not to obsolete freighters, deep space transports as hauling platforms, but we feel like we can make this change now since both of these classes are also receiving warp speed boost at the same time. Taking into the account the 25% warp speed boost it is getting, it should feel significantly more mobile when traveling between systems and mining locations. Okay, makes sense. Cool, cool. Heavy interdiction cruisers. This is a big one. All Hicks can now fit regular Sino field generators. So you can make big bubbles in space and light Sinos, and Hicks are in big fucking bricks. If you don't know, these things are tanky AF. So this is going to be a big old Sino field that will stay and give a beacon with a bubble to be able to really bring in the forces. So that's pretty cool. We'll see how that plays out. Interdictors. They are reduced the web strength of station webification probes launched by interdictions from 40% to 20% to reduce how effective they are against brawlers and sig tanking flig composition. What the who is using web probes? Why are web probes getting nerfed? Okay. I guess the wubbles were real too strong. Anyone got any context for this one? Burst jammers. Yeah, no idea. Yeah. Burst jammers. So this is a big one, so pay attention. They can now only be fitted to battleship hulls, hauler hulls, and command ships. Again, that's battleships, haulers, and command ships. So I guess there was a problem with people basically putting burst jammers on any and all ships, and just kind of going to town with them. So now they're very specialized items. Do I agree with this change? Not necessarily, but it is what it is. So now they're just specialized items. Yeah. All right. A0900 C13 wormholes reduce lifespan from 16 hours to 4.5 hours. So these are small C13 holes. That's actually kind of an interesting and big change for eviction stuff. Basically, if you got one of these, then it basically meant eviction was over. But now that it's 4.5 hours, like it's realistic that people won't be able to respond in that time. 4.5 hours is still a lot of time, though, if like you're still looking for them. And actually, I maybe think they didn't think this through, because a new wormhole is going to immediately spawn after the 4.5 hours. So you are going to have more chances to get a small hole in your wormhole, but it is going to last less time. So this is a weird one. I don't know how I feel about this one. but it's in. It's something to know. So be aware of it. Is you're gonna find more small holes in your fucking hole. But I guess it means that when you do find a small hole, like only 4.5 hours of your day is ruined instead of like 16 hours. Do we set up murder alts for hunting in C13s? Maybe. Maybe. It does mean we're going to connect to more C13s. So if you like C13 content, this is going to be good for you. Basically, we're going to connect like 4 times more often, 3 times more often. Wormhole PD will be moving into them, I bet. I mean, maybe. This is an interesting change. We'll see how it plays out. All right, moving on to faction warfare and pirate insurgency changes. The pirate fob will now drop 1.5 billion ISK in average in loot. All right. Regular pirate insurgencies roaming NPCs now have a small chance to drop Scorch navigation log items, which can be turned in at Faction Warfare LP stores in conjunction with some ISK and LP for a crate containing blueprints for new Navy scanning upgrade modules. Excuse me? Excuse me? Navy scanning upgrade modules? Okay, let's go. Let's go. I didn't know this was coming, and I am really excited for them. Apparently, we're getting faction scanning modules. So, like, it's going to be like Fed Navy range finding improvement. Okay. That's awesome. I really like that. I'm glad that they added faction modules to this finally. Those might be pretty expensive though. We'll see. Rebalance the number of pilots that get paid when completing multiplayer reward complexes. The new schema is as follow. Scouts and smalls are now, oh fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Scouts and smalls are now 2 instead of 1. I love this. Mediums are now 3. So like it promotes grouping instead of solo activity. Mediums are now 3 and larges are now 4. Age of Loss. Yeah, excellent. So remember all of those faction warfare complexes that we did that were 1? They're going to be 2 now. So like we would have gotten more LP if we did our activity like 1 day later. And then opens remain, paying up to 5 players before splitting the rewards. Players will now need to be inside a faction warfare battle site within 200 kilometers of the entrance beacon of the site for at least 3 minutes to get. Okay, so this is just getting rid of seagoalers. Seagoalers are people that go into the sites and don't really do anything but still get paid out. Moved structures, which were very close to the Amar faction warfare warpin for Mimitar battlefield, so they will no longer bump off it from trying to approach from the central capture point. Okay, makes sense. They're just making the grid a little bit cooler. Fleet improvements, and all of these handshake items are from the community. So the community really wanted these things, or so says CCP. Added an option for the boss to disband fleet. I guess it's not the worst thing. It's just it's a quality of life. It's another option, so that's good. It is now possible to flag yourself as exempt from conduit jumps and the regroup command. Oh my god. This is huge. The regroup command, considering like just last week I lost my ship because there was a multi-boxer trying to regroup his guys and I was in his fleet or his squad for some reason. And so I got regrouped into a smart bomb and I exploded. So you can better believe that I am not going to be regrouping. And also like for the F1 monkeys. So like the FC or whatever is going to regroup everyone. So it's basically following him. But sometimes you don't want to do that. And it can just be really annoying. So I really like the fact that there's now an option to say, don't regroup me, because if you don't like immediately notice it and you're like trying to fly your own ship, it can be fucking hell. It is now possible to set a max fleet size and save max fleet size and default squad settings to saved fleet setups. So this is cool. If you're like planning to do like a 25-man yeet fleet, like you can just say we're locked at 25, and that way you don't forget. So I don't know. I guess, is this worth the dev time? I don't know, maybe, but hopefully it didn't take much dev time, and so it's not a bad thing. You say interceptors can be in the same wing and still do their job without being treated like an F1 monkey. Exactly, Origix. So like they can still get like warp commands, but they're not going to be regrouped instead. Like, yeah, it's just nice. I do like that a lot. And then added a new broadcast command, repair target, which can be used in situations when you want to fix fleet members to remote repair a deployable. When you want your fleet members to remote repair a deployable structure or a player/NPC not in your fleet. Okay, this is pretty cool. It's, yeah, I like this. Because basically we have like broadcast target. We can now broadcast rep. So it's just going to like help streamline Logi pilots, like help them learn, help them know, help them be better F1 monkeys, right? All right, graphics. The 4 racial isotopes from ICE products used in fuel and capital ships, such as oxygen, now all have distinct colored icons so you can easily tell what empire they are associated with at a glance. Oh, cool. That's great. I love it. Added new unique icons for the remaining combat boosters, which did not have them. Okay, cool. So recently they changed a bunch of the combat boosters to have really cool new icons, which really help the readability. And I guess they didn't get all of them. I thought they got all of them, but I guess they didn't. So now they're just finishing the rest of them. So that's good. New unique icons have been added for sensor booster, remote sensor booster, signal lamp, auto targeting system, passive targeting system, and the network sensor array. This is wonderful because they all look like that little satellite. All of these items look like a little satellite, and now they don't. So that's great. I'm excited to see what they are going to actually look like. Added a new unique icons for the Sov Hub combat and mining upgrades. Cool. I've never seen those in my life, so I guess there's some new ones, which hopefully maybe you will see and you will like. Mining, the thing we don't really care. Everyone loves mining. New T3 Sov. Oh, right. So this is actually probably pretty important because mining is in a little bit of a tissy fit. And hopefully this patch will change things. So the idea here is that a T3 sovereignty mining upgrade has been added. The T3 mining locations are designed with Rorquals and large mining fleets in mind, with smaller numbers and of asteroids, but all of them are very high in volume. So rejoice, multi-boxers. You don't have to go and actually play the game anymore. You can all go to your single rock and you can mine the single rock for a lot of your stuff, and you can just continue being AFK because that's what miners like to do. And no shame, like if that's your gameplay, if you like just doing that and chilling out and talking to your buddies, more power to you. And now you can do that again with these tier 3 Sov mining upgrades. Each site contains just under 4 times the total ore overall compared to the T2 mining sites. T3 sites have a 10-hour respawn timer. They cost this much power, this much workforce, 1,800 power, 18,100 workforce, and blueprints are available for 1 billion iskis. And then there's a lot of ore in all of those sites. And the power cost of tier 1 and tier 2 upgrades have been reduced by approximately 10% each. So T2 power cost is reduced from 1350 to 2020. So this is just like nullsec management stuff. Probably doesn't really affect the majority of players here. You say it, I'll come find you in my orcas equipped with smart bombs. I don't know what you're talking about. The T2 nullsec Sov Hub mining upgrade sites, such as the Grimer Depot, have been refactored so that approximately 40% of the asteroids in each site have been removed and their ore contents added to existing asteroids in the site. So we have prioritized removing the lower quantity asteroids and tried to make sure there is at least one very large asteroid on each site. We've also compacted the asteroid belts to move more asteroids closer together. So I don't really like this, but I understand that this is what miners want, and so I am fine with it. I really liked the situation that we kind of had in which it was really giving a lot of power and money to like solo boxer miners, because mining for a while there was a lot more of a active activity. You had to really click a lot of more buttons, so it was harder to multi-box. But the big time miner players didn't like it, so we're changing back towards the more multi-box friendly stuff. You like to gank miners in a catalyst? Well, continue to do so. Additionally, after this refactor, the amount of ore in the T2 sites has then also been increased by approximately 10 to 15%. Nice. This means now that the average asteroid size in all of these sites has been significantly increased. So more ore for you to mine. The T1 mining upgrade sites have also had their ore contents increased by approximately 10%, increase the chance of getting the mining escalation from T2 mining sites by 1.5 times. So you're going to get a lot more, in fact, of these mining escalations. The new T3 sites have been approximately 2.5 times chance over the improved T2 sites to get a mining escalation. So a lot more mining escalations. And we have created a new enormous mercoxic deposit site, which has 4 times the amount of mercoxic in it than the large mercoxic deposit and is much larger asteroid. So if you want mercoxic, you can now have mercoxic. Rejoice. Whew. These patch notes are fucking beefy. All right. Where were we? Total ore value is almost 1 million mercoxic. 1 million M3 mercoxic. T3 mining upgrades will give a guaranteed enormous mercoxic deposit into the system with a 12-hour respawn timer. So Cyber was talking about a respawn timer for, at least for the mercoxic, it's 12 hours. T2 mining upgrades will now also give a guaranteed large mercoxic deposit into the system rather than it being a chance-based spawn, which has an 8-hour respawn time. All right. T3 mining upgrades now also give a chance to spawn the large mercoxic deposit in addition to the guaranteed enormous mercoxic deposit. T2 mining upgrades now also give a chance to spawn the average mercoxic deposit in addition to the guaranteed large mercoxic. So there's just gonna be a lot more mercoxic running around. Added a new faction or deep core strip miner module, which has 0% waste. I know the miners love that 0% waste as an option for mining mercoxic with mining bargers and exhumers. It can be obtained from Ore Corporation LP stores. And in the cost / materials to purchase is 37 million ISK, 56,000 LP, and a modulated deep core strip miner. So that's pretty cool. Just another option for another faction module. We like to see it. Give you more options, and it means that the kill mails are even juicier when we catch you. Increased the amount of pyrite that mordium gives when reprocessed. I don't know what mordonium is, but you're going to get more pyrite. Everyone loves more pyrite, right? To help alleviate pressure on R4s and increase the value of anthenores, the magnetic gas fuel cost per hour for a Metanox noon drill has been increased from 110 units to 150. Interesting. They're making magma even more expensive. Are they going to make ice worth stealing? or is ice just going to remain useless or worthless for like ever? Are you juicy? I'm a little juicy. Most mining sites spawned by upgrades will now persist their respawn time across downtimes, i.e. they won't always respawn at downtime even if they were mined out at 10:59. Okay, that's good. You can't like manipulate them. Missions and NPCs. All right, those were the mining upgrades or mining changes. Ooh.
Hey, you there. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you. Hey, CCP Tiger Shark. 07, welcome in. We are making our way through these patch notes. Moving on to missions and NPCs. The bounties for NPCs, which were increased in the update following Revenant before the NPC warp ins were fixed, have now been returned to slightly higher than the original numbers. So these are bounty things, nullsec ratting, and they've been messed with a lot, and they're getting messed with again. So they're increasing the bounties, with the exception for the buffs we made to the NPCs that are exclusive to the Forsaken, Sanctum, and Teeming Horde sites, which are retaining their approximate total site 36% bounty increase. The objectives info panel has been added to Abyssal Dead Space encounters, so you can now track what room you are in and how many NPCs are remaining. Nice. So this is basically, they have started to go through basically the whole game and added like on the left-hand side of your screen, you have like your solar system and all of that stuff. And now they are adding a bunch of like contextual, helpful information tables, which I really hope that at some point we can move these, because that's where my D-scan goes. And I would love to be able to move it to a different location. But maybe one day we'll be able to do that. But for now we cannot. But the objective info panel, there was something that I was doing recently that I wanted them to add an objective overview panel for, but alas, I do not remember. So all well. You get it for Abyssal Dead Space now. So, and you can probably expect it will, if it's not in whatever your current activity is, it might come to that current activity soon, TM. All right. PI. This is a really big one. This is probably going to make me look into doing PI again. I think the combination of PI templates, which are new, and the sentence that I am about to say to you, I think it is now not tedious enough. I think we are below the tedium level to where it might be a good idea to actually do PI. And the sentence I'm going to say is that it is now possible to restart extractors for a planet from the planetary industry window. You don't even have to go into the planet, it doesn't sound like. This is even better than I expected. To do this, the extractors need to have finished their cycle already. It cannot be done to refresh an ongoing extractor which hasn't completed fully, which is totally fine. This means less clicks, a lot less clicks. I hate how many clicks PI has, but with the combination of these less clicks and setting up less clicks, it's pretty good. It's literally a single button. It's great. So if you're not doing PI, you need to start doing PI. It's PI time, baby. I can't believe I'm saying these words, but I think it finally is PI time. In fact, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, Wednesday, and I think we're probably going to be setting up a PI. I think that's what we're going to be doing. PI templates are no longer an opt-in feature preview and have been added as a feature for everyone. Okay, cool, even better. Several improvements have been made to the filters for PI templates. We love it. Improved the search function for PI templates. It is now possible to rename PI templates using a PI. So PI templates are also just like being super good now too. Using a PI template with a higher command center level than your current character has will now just upgrade it to your max skill level and try to add as much of it can from the template before running out of resources. We now store the height of the window for each tab, so we're not constantly shrinking the windows when you switch tabs and back to them. This applies only to those tabs that do not have max height. Not exactly sure what that means, but I'm sure PI players are rejoicing about this. The sort order of templates is now alphabetical. It is now possible to select multiple pins by holding Shift and then swap multiple schematics at once. Not sure what that means, but I'm sure it is really exciting. And we're going to find out tomorrow, probably. The Roots tab shows the short names for the pins. Okay, cool. The text for the transitioning roots in the Roots tab is now using a secondary color, and added origin/destination to the Roots tab. That's a lot of really cool sentences. It's PI time, baby. That's what I got to say about this. Origig says multiple schematics change is awesome. All right, excellent. CyberGig needs to redo your setups. I'm going to redo my setups as well.
Hey, you there.
I kind of know the PI that I want to make, so we're going to be making that PI as well. Thank you so much for the follow, Tricky Nicky TDV. Welcome in, welcome in. All right, time to move on to science and industry. First word, first sentence. Sales tax has been increased from 4% to 7.5%. Excuse me, what? What? What is the sentence that I just read? Sales tax has been increased from 4% to 7.5%? All goods that we sell is going to be, they're going to take more of our money and we can't do anything about it? So, I mean, honestly, this is probably pretty fine. This is basically just an ISK sync. Money is being taken away from the game. It's not being transferred to another player. It's just being destroyed. And honestly, we need more ISK syncs in the game. So while it is going to suck a little bit for people who like to sell and trade things, also known as yours truly, it's fine. Traders already make some of the most money in the game. So taking money away from them, whatever it is in it, it's not that big of a problem. Yeah. Mercden's base infomorph generation has been lowered from lower. Are you fucking kidding me? So Mercden's generate infomorphs, and you use infomorphs to buy those ships that no one has, the Tholos and Cenotaph. So I read this as just the Tholos and Cenotaph are going to still be too expensive and not really being flown around a lot. Which I would love for them to be more reasonably priced so that we could actually fly them. But I guess CCP disagrees and wants them to be very expensive specialized ships. And like to a degree, I kind of agree, but because they are so fucking good, but like it's a little too much right now. Like just let people have some of them. MTOs now only give 350 bonus infomorphs instead of 500 when completing an MTO for max development mercenary den. MTO is mercenary telemetry operation. It's basically like a little mission, which you could do if you own a mercenary den, and they're making even less infomorphs that you get from it. Don't like this. Don't understand why they're doing this. Just making it harder to get the Tholos and Cenotaph. The development levels of mercenary dens have been decreased to the following: 5%, 10%, 20%. I don't know what they were previously. I wish they, but I don't know. Yeah, I wish they said what they were previously, but this is what they are now: 5, 10, 15, 20%. We are reducing the cost of all capital ships and Tech 1 battleships and reducing the cost of T1 dreadnoughts even further. So, big ships and T1 battleships. So, T1 battleships are actually going to be in a really cool spot right now because they're basically double dipping, in fact.
Hey bitch,
The fact
you are
that
forcing your Twitch viewer to watch an ad right now, so pause your fucking game.
Enjoy the ads, Twitch viewers. Hopefully this is the time to be subbed because we're continuing on for the YouTube video, baby. the T1 battleships are double dipping because both there's going to be a lot more minerals. It is going to be easier for multi-boxers to get a lot more minerals now. And we're also reducing the cost of the battleships. So battleships are going to be really reasonably priced. So if you like battleships, get ready to fly a bunch of them. It's going to be a good time to do so. And then the same thing for capitals and T1 dreadnoughts. Big ships, it is kind of the age of the big ships now because they're making them a lot more accessible. At least reasonably more accessible with these changes. The manufacturing cost of all Tech 1 dreads has been decreased as following. Capital propulsion engines requirements from 5 to 4. Capital armor plates, 5 to 4. Capital ship maintenance bays, 5 to 4. Capital turret hardpoints, 20 to 15. Capital siege array, 20 to 15. So we're seeing about a 20%, 20 to 25% reduction in their cost, which is honestly pretty fucking big. The same thing for the Phoenix, Moros, Nag. The input materials of all T1 battleships have been decreased by approximately 25%. Woo-wee. All right. Battleships are going to be maybe even cheaper than I thought they were going to be. So this is pretty cool. And then the input materials of capital components have been decreased by approximately 25%. Yep. Below is a table with the capital components change. The core temperature regulators. I make some of these things. So okay, cool. Sort of. Wait. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So core capital temperature regulators. We don't really make those. Neuralink protection cells. We do make these. Half cost on the meta uplink, so that's pretty cool. It's just going to make them cheaper. It kind of sucks that I just made, I think, like 8 of them or something. Enhanced Neuralink protection cells. I just made like 2 of these, so I'm a little bit pissed at this one. But not terribly pissed. Just a little bit pissed. Making it simpler, easier to do that. And then capital capacitor battery, capital shield emitter, capital jump drive, all of these material costs. So it's like, yeah, just as they said, battleships, capital ships are all getting significantly cheaper. A good percentage of their price is getting knocked down. No more getting rich by selling ravens. I mean, you can make cheap ravens, maybe sell them for a higher percentage change. I don't know. All right, we don't need to go through all of these, but suffice to say, like basically everything is getting cheaper. What I do want to say is that if you are a manufacturer, might I suggest checking out Eve Guru, a third-party application, which really helps you find what you want to build and how to build it. And hopefully they will quickly update their numbers to include these numbers. So you can basically find what you want to do, and it's a cool workflow to where you can find the exact quantities of minerals and stuff that you will need. And if you do happen to use Eve Guru, go ahead and use code NTH, that's NTH, for your subscription, where you will get a discount, and I will also get a discount. But I do actually really like the program, Eve Guru. And it is in very active development. So it's real cool stuff. All right, scrolling down. Oh, wait. FTLs. I make FTLs. And these things are just getting cheaper to make. Okay. Sure, why not? Combat battlecruisers and attack battlecruisers have had their reprocessed materials updated to the same inputs as the blueprint, so they will now have more accurate, higher insurance payouts. Good. The estimated item value for multiple items in games and the manufacturing cost breakdown should now more accurately reflect the value of the finished product. This could be huge. I don't know if they're saying exactly what I think hopefully they're saying. So a while ago, they really jacked up the estimated item value for blueprints. So it meant that researching blueprints was really cost prohibitive. So hopefully they have changed a lot of the estimated item values for blueprints so that it is now a lot more viable to actually do research on them. They don't outright say that, but something to investigate for sure. And now we're on to the little things. Little things are little things that are honestly probably some of the best fucking changes in the game that happen. The number of skill points in the queue. So this will tell you how many large skill injectors you need to buy. That's pretty nice. Oh, the next line says showcases how many skill injectors you may be needed. Added estate icons to drones in drone window. Added state icons, so like empire icons. Increase the readability of drone states in the drone window. Not exactly sure what that means, but probably is pretty good. Attacking, returning, etc. Oh, nice. So instead of like using the words, we can use icons. Market orders in the market window are now default ordered by sell orders are lowest to highest, buy orders are highest to lowest. Oh, they weren't default order. Oh, that probably really sucked for new players. Oh, because like new players, it probably had like the items in the station and it didn't matter. Because new players want things in their station, but they don't want the cheap thing. Yeah, this is probably good. You say you have a little hourglass beside their picture that shows them idle. Oh, cool. Make double clicking in order history bring up market details. Ooh, nice. That's pretty fun. You can now pin stations to the top of your personal asset window. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So if you go to your assets, you can like right click whatever station you're interested in and you can pin it to the top. And I believe you can do this for multiple stations. And then they will like the pinned ones will be ordered like how they are normally ordered, I think. Go ahead and check it out. Now we can pin Heck and Rins. That's right. You can now jump through Ansiblexes via the radio menu. Oh, you couldn't before? Oh, that's awful. I'm really glad that they actually changed that. I don't use Ansiblexes because I'm not a nullseeker, but if I ever am, I'm really glad that I can use the radio menu for that because I use the radio menu for everything. You just pinned the 113 stations? Perfect. It only works in personal assets, doesn't work when you use the search tab. So that's just a little helpful advice. If it's not working for you, make sure that you're on the right tab and you should be good to go. Added the ability to open multiple fixed item crates. Oh, this is huge. So now if you do a bunch of project discovery, let's say, and you get a bunch of those boxes, you can open them all at once and just get all the goodies instead of like trying to cheese the system by like moving your area and like double clicking and control Wing and all that fun stuff. They just made it so it actually works how it should work. Hooray. Buy orders will now always buy items from the market. Oh, are you kidding? Is it happening? Buy orders will now always buy items from the market at the lowest possible value, sale order first at those prices, instead of always buying everything at the buy order price, even when there are already existing valid sell orders at lower prices. For example, there might be 3 sell orders for a unit of trit at a station, 1 for 6, 1 for 8, 1 for 10. You set up a buy order in that station for several units at 10 ISK. Previously, you would have bought all 3 at the 10 ISK. You will now pay 6 ISK, 8 ISK, 10 is yes. Yes. It's happening. It finally is happening. Let's fucking go. Oh my god, this is the best sentence in this patch note. I don't know about you guys. I do a lot of buying in the Jita markets, and I have overpaid for a lot of stuff because I've been lazy. But this will save me billions
Well,
of
shit.
ISK. Well, shit. That's right. Yeah, for sure. Oh my god, this is the best. I love this one. All right. Whew. Need another. I thought the little things was gonna be the last section. Not quite. There's still some more. I just realized we've been on these patch notes for just under an hour. It's gonna take an hour to get through these patch notes. All right. Gameplay. Fixed extra columns in inventory window. Allowing players to show extra columns in the inventory window, which previously wasn't functional. Oh, excellent. Missing slot categories in inventory window. Slot categories in the inventory window was not functional. We fixed it so players can now see what slot the item occupies on your ship, if applicable. Oh, cool. Fix the ability to simulate the fit of ships in the corp hangar. Oh, that's a fix? That's not a new thing. That's a fix. So, okay. This is huge too. Previously, if you had ships in a corp hangar, you couldn't right click them and simulate them. It just didn't work. You would have to take the ship from your corp hangar, move it into your hangar, figure out what the heck it was, and then if it wasn't what you wanted, you would have to put it back and then grab another one like it and hope that that was the correct fit that you wanted. And it was very tedious and annoying, and I hated it. And now we can simulate fit in the corp hangar. Another great change. You used to be able to fit ships from simulations in a corp hangar. They broke it some number of years ago. I don't ever remember being able to do it. Then again, I wasn't in a position where I was really doing a lot with corp hangar ships and fittings and things like that. But I love this. This is great. This is a beautiful fix. About time, I guess. Graphics. The Rorqual is now able to get upright again while using the Industrial Siege module. Good. And then the last one, the final one. Is it a good one? It's a handshake one. User interface. The order of input materials across different blueprints that have similar should now be consistent. The last patch note is a typo. Similar. Try again, CCP. Can I get a CC, please, on the last patch note? The order of input materials across different blueprints that have similar inputs should now be more consistent. Consistent. That's right. So that's probably pretty nice. I haven't really noticed it being annoying previously, but I guess it's a good little change there. And that's the patch notes. Boy howdy, those are fucking some patch notes. My favorite is obviously the ISK, the buying things. My PI is huge. Mining is huge for the miners. I dislike the Tholos and Cenotaph change a lot. I want those to be more available. There's just a lot of really good stuff. Oh, the faction warfare LP payout changes. That's great. I don't like the ECM burst change. There's a lot I like. There's a lot I love. There's a lot I dislike or disagree with. But that's going to happen on a big patch. And I feel like they probably could have done a little bit more on the force projection front. But faction scanning mods. Yeah, that's another one of my huge favorites. Faction scanning mods. What are my thoughts on the spool up times? I think it's a good choice. There was too many situations where you could utilize the instant get out features of them, and the spool up times aren't really that long, so I think it's totally viable. I think it's reasonable too. As a wormholer, I'm happy the PI is changing and the C13 frig hole is... Oh, the C13 frig hole being 4 hours is a really weird change. I don't know how I exactly feel about it. Because I don't know if you like thought about this, Sultan, but like it means you are going to get more C13 holes popping up randomly, but they are going to last less time, right? So you're going to have more problems, but the problems are going to be less long when you have them. We will see. I bet 500 million ISK CCP is going to press a get button somewhere and decimate some of the changes because people start pumping out hella lot of battleships or find a way to get cheaper plex to retain monthly subs. It's definitely going to be the era of larger ships, battleships, dreads. You're going to see a lot of these because battleships can fly burst jammers and no one else can. Well, some other things can, but not a whole lot of things. The warp changes. I like the warp speed changes. I think that's totally reasonable. Yeah, let's go through. Let's just kind of, Ansiblex. Wish they did more. Warp changes we like. Filaments we like. EOS is sure, fine, change it. The Hicks is pretty cool. We don't like that they nerfed Wubbles because I guess some group somewhere out there is really utilizing Wubbles effectively. Faction warfare changes. Faction we like. Faction scanning modules we really like. I'm really glad that I have postponed and waited so long to make my buzzard fit video because now my buzzard fit is definitely going to include faction modules. Fleet improvements, sure. The excluding yourself from fleet regroup is really cool, really good. Mining is for the miners. The miners really like that. I know they're going to enjoy that. Payouts is like whatever. PI is huge, great. It's a great time to do PI. Science and industry. Sales tax, we feel a little conflicted on it because it's hurting us personally, but the game need more ISK sinks. So that's fine and reasonable. Infomorphs, we already said we don't like being less because it means Tholos and Cenotaphs are more rare. Capital changes, we're pretty fine with this. It just means more capitals are going to be flying around. Battleship changes, more battleships being flying around. That's all good. The things that we build are getting cheaper to build, which means the prices are going to go down, but at the same time, they're going to be cheaper to build. So I don't know, that's fine. We're basically going to pass the cost onto the customer / the lack of cost to the customer. Little things. All those are just pretty fucking good. Nothing like too crazy. Except for the buy order thing. That's the best. That's the best patch note I could have ever wanted. And that's it. That's it. All right. That will conclude these patch notes. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to watch another video, there's going to be one right up here. And if you've already watched that, then YouTube's going to suggest a video right on down here. And I will see you guys the next one. Have a great day.